Hi guys, welcome to Learn Electronics Repair. I have some connectors here. These were sent to me by Solderstick. So these are for joining wires together, making a waterproof connection. And you just need hot air or even a cigarette lighter. You put the wires in, you heat the thing up and it seals and connects basically. So they asked me if I would have a look at these. They did send me this box free. And they asked me to give an honest opinion of them. So here we are. Let's have a look at what we have. Okay, so we're in. Nice little container box. And here are our solder stick. We have a discount code. Yeah, it's there, so you can all see it. Okay. And thank you for your order. So we have 4 different sizes here. These are the very small ones. A little bit larger. You can see the yellow ones are actually the largest. And it tells us on the box. So this is your millimeters or wire gauge, AWG. 180 of the blue, 200 of the red, 80 of the white. So you can see what we have in the package there. Let's just take a quick look at the Solderstick website and then we'll try these. So here is the website. We can see the various products. I have the pack with 500 in. Let's have a look to see if it's one of these in actual fact. Looks like this one. Yeah, that looks like the one that I have. A little demonstration. So you can see you just heat this with hot air. This little ring in the middle is some sort of low melt solder, I would imagine, that solders the wires together. Okay, and then this is like glue, which gives you a waterproof connection on each end. Prepare the cables, put them in, apply heat. Simple as that. It's actually, the solder melts at 138 centigrade. You can see here, so just quite a low melt solder. Waterproof IP67, and we have lots and lots of testimonials here from happy people. So let's try ourselves. We'll try each different size with some wires. There's something else I would like to try, although I believe there's a specific product for what I want to try. And let's see how well it's working. First, I will try with some of the smallest connectors. So if you can see in here, there's obviously the solder is there. The 2 white bits are some sort of adhesive according to the video we just saw. Okay, this is just some thin wire. I actually don't know the exact size of it, but let's see if it fits inside. So yes, that goes through the middle of there quite happily. I don't actually have a wire gauge measuring tool. Okay, but they're both sitting in there quite nicely. And from what we've just seen, we just need to warm this up. I've set my hot air to 200 degrees, but I'm just going to put a metal plate on here first so I don't burn the mat on the bench. And there we have it. Okay, let's just try this. So just lift it up. Put a bit of heat. Yeah, this is set to 200 as I mentioned. And it is melting, but probably the hot air needs to be a bit hotter than that. It's not doing very well or very quickly. Let's increase it to a higher setting. So 350, this is more like I would normally use. Well, I can see that's melted, I think, and it was off the shot. I'll do it again. I've just done one actually, guys, but I didn't have it in the shot correctly with a high zoom on the camera. So let's try again. So you can see I've inserted the wire into that metal ring there, okay? From the other side, I'll just twist the wires together actually. Just catching a little bit on the adhesive ring, I think. Okay, those are clearly both through the ring, yeah. We'll centre it. Okay, now let's warm it up. Well, you can clearly see that the solder is melting there. Yeah, oh yeah, like it's liquefied. Okay. Let's allow that to cool down and then see how good a grip the glue has on the wire. At the moment the thing is still like a little bit sticky, flexible. Yeah, it's still hot. I'll just move it away from the hot part of the metal stand and let it cool down a little bit. Okay, and there we have it, guys. So I'm pulling hard. In fact, I'm pulling as hard as I can on that, and it's not giving it up. So it seems to be well soldered. Let's measure the resistance across the wire. And in fact, let's use the milliohm meter. Okay, so see what we have. Well, we have 60 to 61 milliohms, okay? It'd be interesting to see how that compares if we just solder two bits of this wire together, okay? I probably only have one of shorter length, but I'm sure we can do it. In fact, I'll tell you what, let's make this one shorter, and then I'll solder one of the same sort of length, okay? Let's see how much of this resistance is actually in the wire. Okay, so it's fairly short now. And we can make a direct comparison. $15 milliohms, okay? Now let's take two bits of wire of the basic same sort of length and solder them together. Okay, these two pieces of wire are very close to the length. This is not exact, guys, but I think it gives a very good indication. So we'll get the soldering iron. I'll tin the other bit of wire. I haven't added any flux, but there's clearly quite a lot of flux in this solder anyway. So I've soldered the two together. Okay, let's see how that compares. Well, it's basically the same. I mean, we don't know the wires are exactly the same length. It's so similar to be no difference. So quite clearly, this gives a very good connection and the same sort of resistance as soldering the wires together, then putting heat shrink sleeving on. And this is much easier, I would say, and you won't have the same problem I normally have of like soldering the wires and realised I forgot to put the heat shrink on. And the other ends of the wires are not free. Okay. And you can clearly see that as a good connection. And that is a good connection, okay. Without using like a force, Newton force meter or something, I can't say exactly, but as a rule of thumb, one seems to be as good as the other one to me. Let's try some of the bigger ones. We'll try the next size up. So this is a bit longer. We'll take thicker wire. Let's see what I can find. Actually, I've just recalled I do have a wire gauge on my awesome PCB weight ruler. So let's see what this stuff actually is. This is from ATX wiring, basically. That fits into there. So this seems to be about 15, yeah. On this side, 15. Okay, 1.45, which I'm guessing is millimeters on that side. So this wire would seem to be the one we would use in the blue one. But let's try it in a red and a blue. Let's do it a couple of times and see if it works in both or not. Well, it fits inside, yeah, it fits inside the ring, okay. This is the red one. Okay. Yeah, both ends are pushed together quite nicely in there. Let's heat this one up and see what happens. I think I'll try to get the solder in the middle to melt first and then do the glue afterwards to hold it all in place. Okay. So the solder is clearly melted. Now let's just do the glue. Okay, that one seems good. And while that's cooling down, I'll use the same thickness of wire and one of the blue ones. This blue one seems much larger to me. It seems too big for this wire. In fact, you know guys, that is like just waggling around in there. Okay, that's nowhere near the size. So we'll try something thicker on this one. Okay, this is much heavier wire again. Actually, this is probably the heaviest wire I have. So I don't think I'm going to be able to test the very large ones. Again, we'll just poke the wires in there so they are in the middle. And we'll heat it up. And then we can measure the resistance on these. So once again, I'll actually melt the solder first in the middle. Yes, melting, you can see it melting. And then we'll go for the glue. Rolls over, hit to the side. Okay. Quite happy with the way that looks at least. Once again with the milliometer. Very low, 3.5, 3.6. This is thicker wire, obviously. Again, it's a very solid joint. I can't move them apart. This is the thickest one that I can try. Extremely low. Less than a milliohm, yeah. And again, that's a good solid joint we have there. So I have to say, from first glance, these seem to work very well, guys. There's a couple of things I would like to try, or one thing in particular. So this is not advertised to do this, but what I often find is I often want to join two wires into one. Okay, so two wires coming in, one wire going out. So let's see if these will actually do that. Not that they are advertised to do this, okay? This is just my curiosity. But it's probably something a lot of you guys would want to do. So we'll take two wires. This is clearly too small, they won't go in, so we'll go to the next size up. We'll have two wires in there, we'll have one coming in from the other side. Let's go for one of the same thickness in actual fact. And if it'll do this, we'll probably join two pairs as well. Okay. And you'll note I'm not preparing this wire in any way. I'm not putting flux on or anything like that. I'm just literally stripping the insulation and putting it in. So let's see if it will actually do this. Because if it will, this is really handy for me anyway. Okay. So we have three wires coming in. It's very easy to see when the wires are inserted correctly. I like that. Let's warm it up. So it's melted, you can see liquidus, yeah, liquid. The glue's on, the glue's on. I'll just see if I can flick it over. Warm the other side a little bit, and we have it. Okay guys, that's fairly cool. Now let's see if it's got it. No, it came out, so it doesn't seem able to do that. We'll try it again. I'll make this wire a bit longer, but do bear in mind this is not advertised, this product, to do this, okay? But let's just have a look. So I'll make this one longer. Yeah, we'll do the same with all of them. Okay. I think you can see in there he did partially melt. Okay, we can cut these open a minute and have a look. But let's just try this again. So one wire in, one from the other end, and we'll put two from one end. Okay. We could try all three from one end, of course. Okay. So that's clearly inserted. All wires are definitely inserted. Let's try this one. And I'll hit it a little bit more this time. Okay, let's let that cool down and see if that did it. Okay, I've let it cool down. Has it got a good grip on it this time? And yes, I'm putting a lot of strain on that. This one did get a good grip. And that was just by trimming the wire a little bit longer, basically. Let's just measure the resistance on this one. Okay, so we'll go end to end and then we'll go between these two. Let's see what we have. Well, we have about 3.95 milliohms on the other one. Basically the same. This near as damn it, guys. Yeah. So that's tough. Yeah, that works, guys. That works, and that's handy. That is really handy as far as I'm concerned. I mean, this is obviously ideal for automotive work, that sort of work, but just generally in the workshop. I like that. Let's have a look inside one of these. Let's see what we've got. So this is the one that didn't join properly. Okay. Oh, I can see, yeah, I think I can see what happened with this. I'll get the microscope, I think. It'll give you a better view of what's happening with these. Okay, that's a bit clearer. So I think we can see that this one actually didn't melt properly. This is where I had two wires coming in from one side, one from the other side. Okay. Yeah, there's like a bit of solder there, but it doesn't look like it's properly melted to me. A little bit more went down the actual wire. Okay. Let's compare that with the one that did join correctly. Let's have a look. Okay, guys, so I've stripped off the plasticky stuff. This was very hard to strip away, actually. It took a bit of doing with a Stanley knife and cutters. Okay. So this grips very well. Yeah, you can see like the adhesive is in there. But more importantly, let's look at the soldered joint. Okay, so you can see where that is soldered. It's still quite solid. I'm just pulling on it now. Yeah, it's got a good grip. That's definitely soldered. It's not flooded the wires with solder, but it certainly soldered them. And we have a very low resistance on it. Okay, so I've cut through it. You can see where there were some strands. So it doesn't solder all the strands. It doesn't flood it with solder. But what you can clearly see there is it's kind of like an amalgam of solder and wire. Yeah, the other end. Okay. Now I've separated it out, I mean I've taken it apart now. But you can see again that the wire was sitting inside that soldered area. It's a bit hard to see. Yeah, clear it. But bear in mind, this product is not meant to do this. Yeah, I'm trying to do something with it that it wasn't designed to do. But I think it did it as well as you would expect, okay? Let's have a look at one of the joints that it is designed to do, okay? I'll cut this one open. And there we have the soldered joint. So you can see that this one is soldered much better. But this is what the product is designed to do. Okay, let's just cut it open. Yeah, the solder's not gone into every strand again, but it's good. It's good, guys. At the other end. Okay. Personally, I think that's good enough. Yeah, you could solder it better yourself and put some heat shrink on, but the resistance was very good. I'm quite happy with that myself. And there we have it, guys. Solder stick connectors. I think these are really an interesting product, actually. I wasn't aware these existed, but I've never looked for them. But for the cost of these, $20 odd, this box is going to last me a very long time. And it takes a lot of hassle out of the job, especially where I was trying to join two wires to one. Okay, guys, hope you enjoyed that one. Maybe something new for you. I can recommend it personally. And I look forward to seeing you all on another Learning Electronics Repair video. Ciao for now, guys.